Hello and welcome to the Big G Video Podcast. In this episode today, I'm going to be talking about NotebookLM, and I've been using NotebookLM for maybe about a month now, and I've got some observations, and I just wanted to talk about that. Can you use NotebookLM to replace yourself in a podcast like this? So I got a trial of NotebookLM, and I've made a few things with NotebookLM already, and I've put those on my channel. So with NotebookLM, you can do the following things. You can just use it as a standard AI. You can ask it questions and it will give you answers. What I like about it is you can add multiple sources. So if I click on the sources button, I can upload something. So I can upload a PDF, a text file, a markdown file, audio. Potentially I could upload a video and a video would be taken as audio. I can link to documents in my Google Drive. I can link to a website. I can link to a YouTube video, or I can just put in text that I copy off the clipboard. And then I can go and ask NotebookLM to do certain things, basically with a text prompt. So it will effectively, in that respect, just act like a normal AI. It's got a source and you can ask it questions, you can ask it to summarize it, etc. That's not particularly revolutionary. What I think is revolutionary is that you can add multiple sources. So quite often I summarize the videos I've made this week. Well, I could or could not do that with NotebookLM. So I've actually done that, and I'll talk about that later, how I got on. So you can add multiple videos. I made a video about the Insta360 X4, and the sources and inputs for that in NotebookLM were all the videos I'd recently made about it, or I had 1 week where I just made lots of videos about the Insta360 X4. I use those as sources. What you can also do is you can do an audio overview, and that's effectively a really polished podcast. So when you do an audio overview, it effectively builds you a podcast. It's got two people speaking and it's done in the style of a podcast. And technically, it's very, very good when you do that. You get a nice warm voice talking about things. It does everything automatically. The problem I found with it was it didn't really follow the prompt I asked for. So you can do things like deep dives and you can tailor it that way. But when I did it, I asked for something specific and it didn't do that. So in the studio side of NotebookLM, it didn't do what I asked it to do. So if I go to audio overview, because I've got this up at the moment, I can edit the type of audio overview I want to do. I can do deep dive, I can do brief, I can do critique, I can do debate, and then I can add things in a text prompt that I want the AI hosts to focus on in the episode. Now, when I've done this, I found that it hasn't really stuck to the brief I've given it. It's done what it wants to do. And that's one of the problems I find with AI. Even if you write a really good text prompt, it sort of does what it wants to do anyway. It sort of ignores the text prompt. And I suspect that's because the way it's built with NotebookLM, it's going to have a conversation between two hosts and it's always going to prioritize that over anything else. So I found while it was technically very good, it wasn't what I asked for. You can also do a video overview, and that's effectively an explainer video. So it has a bit of music, some really simple sort of whiteboard diagrams, and again, it just sort of is a summary thing. And for me, I think that's better than the podcast episode that you can do. So again, if you click on that, you can type things that you want to try out, or you can put a prompt in, who the use case is for, what to focus on, what to do, things like that. And I think that's very good. And you can see some of those videos on my page, on my videos. You can also do something called a mind map, and you can also do reports. Now, again, reports are, you can make your own. You can make a study guide. You can make a blog post. You can do an explanation, a concept overview, and you can also do a mind map as well. Now, NotebookLM, I think, is very good. And if you get NotebookLM, I think you get access to Gemini and things like that. Now, there's no doubt it's technically capable, it's technically amazing that I can take my videos that I've already made and effectively turn them into a podcast, well, an audio overview, or have a summary video. Even if it doesn't do what I really asked it to do, it's still very impressive that it can do that. However, when you get your output, particularly on the video one, it does say NotebookLM on it. And I do wonder if anyone really wants to see that. When people go to YouTube, do they want to see a video that's been made by NotebookLM? I don't know that they do. Or do they want to see something unique that someone's created? So the videos that have been made with NotebookLM, I was really just putting them out to see how well they do. If I looked at them and compared them to my other videos, they're at the lower end of my typical views, but they are like podcasts. They're not your typical videos. They are, and my podcasts, like you're listening to now, don't do as well as my typical videos because it's me rambling for some time about something. And maybe that's not as engaging as an actual review or a tutorial video or an observational video. So they don't do as well as my big videos that do really well relative in my channel. But they are getting around 50 views at the time I'm creating this. They're just under 50 views. So clearly someone's watching it. Now you could argue that's coming down to the thumbnail and the title, etc. And once people get into the video, they can see it's a NotebookLM, and that might drop off. Now it's got 23.6% percentage viewed on one of them, and on the other one, if I go to the analytics, the percentage viewed is 10%. So it's by no means a brilliant video that's kept everyone engaged and captivated. I don't know why that is. Was it just wasn't very good? Was it a NotebookLM? Was the topic not very good? But still people are watching it, and still I've made videos that have got that exact percentage. I do wonder whether it's as good as me on a bad day. I don't know. And will people want to watch this in 5 years' time? Will they want to watch it? Because if someone wanted that, they could just make their own if they had NotebookLM. I don't know. I think the technology is fantastic. I think the technology is so impressive, but I do question its use. Potentially, I could have it do the summary part at the end. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to summarize the one video I made this week. I'm going to get NotebookLM in the style of a podcast to do that. So now I'm going to hand over to two podcast hosts who are effectively LLMs through NotebookLM. Let me know what you think. Thank you. Goodbye.
This is the brief on the Insta360 X4 and Mic Air compatibility. So, for a while there, if you had the Insta360 X4 action cam, getting really good, reliable audio was, well, kind of tricky. But hey, guess what? There's a new firmware update that's like a software boost, right? And a recent YouTube video from Big G Video dives into how it completely changes things. It finally lets you use the Insta360 Mic Air with the X4. Okay, first up, this firmware update for the Insta360 X4, it makes it fully compatible with the Insta360 Mic Air. And honestly, this is a pretty big deal, maybe even a surprise for some folks, because it fixes a real headache people had with audio. Second, hooking them up is super easy. Like you just turn on the Mic Air and boom, the X4 says, Bluetooth headphones are connected. Yeah, even though it's a mic. And get this, you can actually start and stop recording on the camera from the mic itself. How cool is that? Makes shooting way simpler, even if you're pushing high resolutions like 5.7K. And finally, how does it actually sound? Well, the Mic Air performs really well. In the tests shown, it picked up clear audio even without needing a windscreen in calm weather. Honestly, it seems like a much better and just easier way to get good sound compared to messing with other Bluetooth mics, like trying to connect a DJI Mic Mini. So yeah, this update really unlocks a powerful and convenient audio setup for Insta360 X4 users, making your content sound way better.